Are you being scammed, or could stem cells actually regrow parts of your body? Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is stem cells. And I've just recently gotten back from visiting my good friend at Wake Forest School of Regenerative Medicine, Dr. Anthony Atala. He runs the Institute for Regenerative Medicine. This is the cup, by the way. I'm not just holding up a random white cup that he gave me while I was there. And you know, there's legitimacy behind some stem cells, and then other stem cells, you know, are actually very problematic. And we're going to talk about the dangers of the industry and a lot of the problems with stem cells that a lot of people are not talking about. And I saw this firsthand, and I'm going to share that with you in this video. So stem cells, what are they? They're our master repair cells, right? There's an industry of people that are selling stem cells, but is it hope or is it real hype, right? Is it actually hype? Now, there is what they call multipotent stem cells, and there is pluripotent stem cells. A multipotent stem cell is a stem cell that is, say, mesenchymal stem cell that has already been differentiated, and it's more of a specialized cell that can turn into like bone marrow or ligamentous or some of these other cartilaginous tissues inside of the body. So mesenchymal stem cells, they come from fat, they come from adipocytes, which is fat cells, they come from your bone marrow, right? They come from umbilical cord. So mesenchymal stem cells are very, very interesting. And so again, stem cells are these, a lot of them are unspecialized cells that can become any tissue ideally. Now that is for what they call pluripotent stem cells. So there's multipotent stem cells that can only become a certain type of tissue. And then there is pluripotent stem cells that can become any type of tissue. It can become bone, it can be muscle, it can be nerves or something along those lines. So I want to talk to you about the dangers of stem cells, or I would say that the issues with stem cells. The reality is, when stem cells go into your body doesn't take most of the stem cells. In fact, within 24 hours, the research shows that they flush out of your body. And so what's a lot of the hype around people that have gotten stem cells injected into their joints or whatever? They're like, wow, I feel so amazing. It's true, because the exosomes in the stem cells have very powerful anti-inflammatory properties. So a lot of the researchers in stem cell research that I am friends with and that come and speak at my regenerative medicine and longevity events, they say, Isaac, a lot of these stem cells, they have a very powerful anti-inflammatory effect in the body, but a lot of these $6,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 injections are oftentimes just washed out of the body within a very short period of time. So the actual mechanism of stem cells are the exosomes. We've had another researcher, a PhD in regenerative medicine, that is a good friend of mine, and he says that he took dead stem cells and live stem cells, and he injected them into a number of different people, and they got the same results. Well, how the heck can you get the same results from a dead stem cell as you can from a live stem cell? He got the same results, he said, because of the exosomes within either of the stem cells. So Harvard has shown that cartilage regeneration is possible inside of the body through the Harvard Stem Cell Institute. So that's exciting. There's also information around how stem cells can help with stroke recovery, and even Alzheimer's research has been really beneficial around the use of stem cells. And so again, is it the stem cells, or is it the exosomes in the stem cells, which again, exosomes are like communication packets. Imagine I'm giving you some mail and I put it in an envelope. That's an exosome. But inside the envelope, there's a message, and that's the letter, right? And so every letter that I send out, or every exosome in the body, has a different messaging process or has a different message within it. So you open the letter and it says, "Happy birthday from Dr. Jones. Hope you have a great day." or it's a letter from the IRS and it's asking something completely different, like why haven't you paid your taxes? So exosomes, they communicate different things. And I think that the challenge with that industry in particular, in parallel to stem cells, is that what are the messages that you're getting from these exosomes, right? Are they the right types of messages that your body should be getting? Now, the good news is when you get, say, them from umbilical cord, the mesenchymal stem cells, as an example, have the really powerful anti-inflammatory effect within the body. So, there's a lot of different places like Panama and Cayman Islands and Bahamas, Barbados. They offer all these different stem cell treatments that are not available in the US, and they claim that, oh my gosh, this is the end all be all. And a lot of them have reached out to me, a lot of stem cell clinics, to ask me if I would partner with them to get people to live a healthy lifestyle afterwards, because they're complaining that the stem cells didn't stick, right? Because they're living an unhealthy lifestyle. They go and get the stem cells thinking that that's gonna rebuild their body. That it doesn't happen. They get upset that they just spent $50,000 in the Cayman Islands, and they then ask me, hey, could we partner with you to help people adopt a longevity lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle to allow for that to actually stick? One last thing I wanted to share that is a big challenge with stem cells is that if you're putting somebody else's DNA in your body, and you do that over and over again, what ends up happening, and I've seen this with my friends, and I didn't understand why, they were, looking a certain way, and, I'm a part of these, longevity think tanks and mastermind groups that are very private to the public, but I see people like dumping stem cells into their body, and they would get bags under their eyes, and they'd start looking like older, right? And I was like, well, why the heck are they doing all of this stuff when it's causing them to look older, and function, and they're like accelerating the aging process? I'm like, what is that? It's autoimmune reactions. People are developing autoimmune reactions to the ongoing usage of stem cells, and the stem cells that are not, the type of stem cells that we want to use. So again, fast forward to Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine. And, Dr. Atullah and some people there are creating breakthroughs in research around stem cells. So there's what they call amnion stem cells that come from the amniotic fluid or the placenta. And the placenta has a lot of really amazing growth factors and this and that. But what's unique about this is that it's pluripotent. Now, the problem with pluripotent stem cells in the past is that if you get, say, embryonic stem cells, which has some ethical issues around the use of embryonic stem cells, these embryonic stem cells have been oncogenic, which are essentially, they can develop and create cancer within your body. So what's unique about these amnion cells is that they are pluripotent. So they are not multipotent like a mesenchymal stem cell that can only turn into, say, cartilaginous or ligamentous tissue. Now, what you can do with this, and this is what they found in the research, is that you can take somebody with a massive open wound and has got all this nerve damage and vascular damage and has just had, very, very challenging time with an infection, etc., and utilize these amnion cells. And unlike the multipotent stem cells, the pluripotent stem cell and the amnion cell that is non-oncogenic, that it doesn't cause cancer, actually helps to repair all the various tissues and differentiates into the various tissues that need to be healed. So it will turn into a nerve tissue, it'll turn into the vascular tissue, it'll turn into the muscle tissue, right? So that is the power of the future of stem cells. So they're going through a trial here, and that will be done in a couple of years from now or a year from now, as I'm understood, in humans. And they've already done a lot of research in humans with this particular stem cell, but I can tell you that the future of the stem cell industry is looking extremely bright. However, the caveat is, the stem cell industry, a lot of people have sold people a bill of goods that it is true that stem cells differentiate into different tissues. It is true that stem cells heal the body. However, when you're injecting other people's stem cells into your body, do they differentiate themselves into other tissues? Or do they leave the body in 24 hours, which is what most stem cells unfortunately do? So we're kind of seeing a theme in the healthcare industry. Unfortunately, 97% of supplements, right, or 99% of supplements are really sham supplements. You look at the peptide industry, most peptides are sham peptides, right? Or not healthy peptides to take, or they're sourced from really unethical practices, or they're toxic for the body. And then you look at the stem cells and you've got the same challenge, right? So, again, it's the only 1% of stem cells, or 1% of exosomes, or 1% of peptides, or 1% of supplements that are actually highly bioavailable, that actually, integrate themselves into the tissues and differentiate into nerve cells and muscle cells and vascular tissue, etc. So, this quote unquote miracle cure isn't what they thought it was. However, the science is getting better and better around stem cells. And yes, there are people that know what they're talking about, and there are clinics that do amazing work, right? And a lot of the doctors that I coach and train and certify through my longevity practitioner certification program are some of those doctors that are killing it and getting a really, really great results. So what I would recommend is always ask where they're sourcing it from. Do not get this from aborted kind of fetal tissue. Look for the kind of ethical, optimal ways that you can get this that will really give you the best results. Stem cells, by the way, they're great for anti-inflammatory effects. And again, if the doctor knows what they're doing and they're sourcing it from a good source, it can be very beneficial. Final thoughts is that stem cells can really change your health and your future. The industry is unfortunately covered with a bunch of not so good information or practices. And there is also a lot of really exciting information and research and institutes and ethical individuals that are putting some of the best stem cells out there on the market in the near future. So again, we want to separate the science from the scams, and I hope this video added a ton of value to you. Please subscribe. I will be giving you more information about what some of these clinics and some of the sources of the best stem cells are in the future, and even interviewing some of the top experts as I have at my top longevity regenerative medicine events. I look forward to adding a lot more value to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, please subscribe and then click the bell button so that you can be notified about the new clinics or the new systems that are coming out that are truly backed in the research and can really help people get really great results. So hope this added a lot of value to you, and appreciate your time.